Welcome back for Chapter 6. Today, Gooney Bird said on Wednesday, I'm going to tell you about Catman and the cow. Maybe you've noticed that I'm wearing my cat and cow outfit today. The students nodded their heads. They had noticed Gooney Bird was wearing an orange fur jacket. Over her shoulder was slung a purse made from brown and white cowhide. Sometimes storytellers have special outfits that they wear. I think that's fine as long as it doesn't interfere with the story, Gooney Bird continued. You can buy fake cat whiskers and ears, for example, but I would never wear such a distracting costume. Would you wear a tail? Beanie asked. I know somebody who had a cat tail and ears at Halloween. Put on your thinking caps, class, Gooney Bird said. Think back to when I talked about Catman last week. No tail, the entire class said, all except Felicia Ann, although she looked up from the floor. That's right, Catman had no tail. I would tell about the lawnmower accident, and it would be an absolutely true story, but I never use violence in my story. Oh, good, Kiko said. Violence makes me cry. Gooney Bird smoothed her jacket fur and did her breathing exercises. Deep breath, let it out. Deep breath, let it out. I know a lot of you have been worried about Catman, she began. I certainly have, Mrs. Pigeon said. I've been thinking about Catman ever since he flew out on that flying carpet. By the way, Mrs. Pigeon, Gooney Bird said, I do want to mention how lovely you look today. Mrs. Pigeon blushed a little. She was still wearing her high-heeled shoes with the buckles, and today there was also a rhinestone butterfly perched in her hair. In fact, the whole class looks quite lovely, Gooney Bird pointed out. She looked around. Malcolm, would you stand up? Malcolm rose from his seat and he held his shoulders back. He was still wearing his polka-dotted bow tie, and today he had added a plaid belt. Kiko, Gooney Bird said. Kiko giggled and stood. She had a bright green bow in her hair and a long, shiny silk scarf wrapped around her neck. Me, called Chelsea. Can I stand up? She did, and the class could see that she was wearing a fringed cowboy vest over her best dress. Me. Everybody, all but Felicia Ann, was calling out now. But Gooney Bird said, later, after the story, I'm ready to begin now. She took one more deep breath and let it out. Beloved Catman is consumed by a cow. Once upon a time, not long ago, after they had left China, Gooney Bird and Catman found themselves flying through the air on a carpet. The carpet landed in a meadow near a large brown and white cow who was contentedly eating wildflowers. The flowers were purple loosestrife. The carpet unrolled and Gooney Bird stood up and looked around. She could see in the distance her father's car quickly disappearing down the road. Beside her, Catman also stood up. He had become very furry and fat, the way cats do when they're frightened. My cat becomes very enlarged when my brother brings his dog to visit, Mrs. Pigeon said. Then she put her hand on her mouth. Oh, I'm sorry, Gooney Bird, I interrupted. That's all right, Gooney Bird replied. Maybe this is a good time for everyone to tell a cat getting big suddenly story. Many children did. Barry Tuckerman's grandma's cat became huge and his tail stood straight out in the air when a groundhog appeared in the yard. Chelsea's cat became enormously fluffy and hissed and spat when the veterinarian gave her a shot. Tricia told how her cat got very, very fat and then one day had 7 kittens inside the laundry basket. Good, good. So y'all understand about cats. Now I'll continue, Gooney Bird announced. The cow, who had purple blossoms dangling from her mouth, looked very surprised when a person, a cat, and a carpet all landed right in her meadow. She thought about what to do and decided that moving to a different corner of the meadow would be the best choice. Carefully, moving slowly in a cow-like fashion, she strolled away toward a corner where yellow cosmos and oxeye daisies were in bloom. Gooney Bird's attention was on the car, which had now disappeared around a bend in the road. She was a little worried about the disappearance of the car. But Catman didn't care about the car. Catman had never liked that car at all. In fact, Catman hated the car, and he was glad that it had disappeared. But he was very interested in the cow. Catman had never seen a cow before. Now he watched with fascination as the cow moved slowly toward the other corner of the meadow. He liked the way the cow walked, heavily and with determination. He liked the way the cow smelled of thick, sun-warmed cowhide and meadow flowers. And as he scampered along behind the cow noticed and mooed. Catman liked the way the cow sounded. It was comforting, the low, throaty sound of a moo, and in the background was the buzzing of flies. Catman began to purr. In the distance, he could hear Gooney Bird calling, "Catman! Catman!" But he didn't care. He found himself falling in love with the cow. "Ah, I